Abra lived in Kolkata, a city bursting with life and color. He loved the familiar chaos, the scent of spices, the constant chatter, yet he yearned for something more. He dreamt of distant lands, of adventures unknown. Every night Abra escaped into books. He devoured tales of ancient samurai, serene gardens and bustling Tokyo streets. Japan, with its blend of tradition and modernity, captivated him. It whispered of mystery, promising a journey of self-discovery. Japan wasn't just a place on a map for Abra. It was a feeling, an enigma he longed to understand. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the tranquil temples of Kyoto, every aspect of Japan seemed to call out to him, whispering secrets of a culture rich in history and tradition. He felt an inexplicable pull towards its culture, its people. The vibrant festivals, the meticulous tea ceremonies, and the harmonious blend of modernity and tradition fascinated him. Each book he read, each documentary he watched, only deepened his curiosity and admiration. It was more than a fascination, it was a calling. The art, the literature, the philosophy, all resonated with him on a profound level. He found solace in the simplicity of a haiku, inspiration in the brushstrokes of a sumi-e painting, and wisdom in the teachings of Zen Buddhism. Saving every rupee, he meticulously planned for a year in Japan. He cut down on unnecessary expenses, took on extra work, and set clear financial goals. Each coin he saved brought him one step closer to his dream. He learned basic Japanese, researched its customs, and immersed himself in its art and literature. He practiced speaking the language daily, read classic Japanese novels, and attended local cultural events to get a taste of what awaited him. The more he learned, the stronger his desire to experience it firsthand grew. He spent countless hours planning his itinerary, researching places to visit, and dreaming about the day he would finally set foot in Japan. His dream was no longer a distant whisper, it was a tangible goal. With his plane ticket in hand and his heart brimming with excitement, Abra knew that his journey was just beginning. The whispers of Japan had guided him this far, and now they would lead him to a new chapter in his life. Leaving Kolkata was bittersweet. Saying goodbye to his family and friends, Abra carried their love and his dreams in his heart. The flight felt surreal, a bridge between his old life and the unknown. As the plane touched down in Tokyo, a wave of apprehension washed over him. He was alone, a stranger in a land where even the simplest conversation was a challenge. Yet there was an undeniable thrill in the air, the anticipation of a grand adventure. Stepping out into Tokyo, Abra was struck by the stark contrast. The air was filled with a sense of urgency, a rhythm that was both exhilarating and overwhelming. The streets were a sea of people, each one moving with purpose, a stark difference from the more laid-back pace of life he was used to in Kolkata. Towering skyscrapers grazed the sky, a far cry from Kolkata's crowded streets. In Tokyo, the buildings seemed to touch the heavens, their glass facades reflecting the city's vibrant energy. Kolkata, on the other hand, was a tapestry of history, its streets lined with colonial-era buildings and bustling markets. The contrast was not just in the architecture, but in the very soul of the cities. The city was a symphony of neon lights, a stark contrast to the warm amber glow of his hometown. At night, Tokyo transformed into a dazzling display of colors, each neon sign telling a story of its own. Kolkata's nights were different, bathed in a soft golden light that seemed to slow down time, inviting people to linger and savor the moment. Yet, amidst the modern marvel, he found pockets of tranquility. Tokyo's parks and gardens were sanctuaries of peace, offering a respite from the city's relentless pace. Abra would often find himself drawn to these green oases, where the only sounds were the rustling of leaves and the distant hum of the city. He discovered ancient temples tucked away in quiet corners, their serene gardens a stark contrast to the city's bustling energy. These temples were like time capsules, preserving the essence of Japan's rich cultural heritage amidst the modernity. Walking through the temple grounds, Abra felt a deep sense of connection to the past, a reminder that even in the most advanced cities, history and tradition still held a place of honor. This juxtaposition of modern and traditional was to become a recurring theme, a beautiful paradox that defined Japan for Abra. The seamless blend of the old and the new was evident everywhere he looked. from the sleek, futuristic buildings that stood side by side with centuries-old temples to the high-tech gadgets that coexisted with age-old customs and rituals. It was this harmonious coexistence that made Japan so unique, a land where the past and the future walked hand in hand, creating a rich tapestry of experiences that left an indelible mark on Abra's soul. Section 5. The Heart of Japan. Abra ventured beyond the neon-lit streets of Tokyo. He traversed the country, from the snow-capped peaks of Mount Fuji to the serene beauty of Kyoto's ancient temples. He immersed himself in the everyday life of the Japanese people. He learned the art of the tea ceremony, its quiet rituals, a lesson in mindfulness and respect. He witnessed the dedication of a samurai swordsmith, the centuries-old craft passed down through generations. Each experience, a brushstroke, painted a vivid picture of Japan's soul on his heart. One day, deep in the mountains of Kyoto, Abra stumbled upon a hidden shrine. Its weathered stone whispered forgotten stories, its silence heavier than the surrounding forest. He felt a strange connection, a sense of belonging he couldn't explain. Later, an old woman at a tea house told him the legend of the shrine. It spoke of a young warrior driven by a thirst for knowledge and a yearning for something more. Abra saw a reflection of himself in the ancient tale, realizing that the search for oneself is a timeless journey. As months passed, Japan worked its magic on Abra. The initial cultural shock gave way to a deep appreciation. He learned the value of silence, the beauty of simplicity, the importance of respecting the old while embracing the new. He discovered that even though language posed a barrier, human connection transcended words. He formed deep bonds with people he met, each encounter broadening his understanding of the world and himself. Japan challenged Abra, pushed him beyond his comfort zone. He learned to navigate unfamiliar situations, to adapt, to find beauty in the unknown. He discovered a resilience within himself he never knew he possessed. The journey was not without its challenges, moments of loneliness and self-doubt. Yet it was in these moments of vulnerability that Abra truly found himself. He learned to appreciate solitude, to find comfort in his own company, to embrace the silence. A year flew by. It felt like just yesterday when Abra had embarked on this journey, filled with excitement and a hint of trepidation. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, each one bringing new experiences, challenges, and moments of joy. Time, it seemed, had wings of its own. As Abra boarded the plane back to Kolkata, he carried more than just memories. He carried a small bonsai tree, a symbol of the growth and patience he had cultivated over the past year. Each leaf and branch represented a lesson learned, a moment cherished. His luggage was filled with souvenirs, but his heart was filled with something far more valuable. He carried a newfound understanding of himself and the world. The journey had been transformative, peeling back layers of his identity and revealing a core of resilience and curiosity. As he gazed out of the airplane window, the clouds below seemed like a metaphor for his thoughts, vast, ever-changing, and full of potential. He was no longer the same young man who had left. The Abra who had stepped onto the plane a year ago was filled with questions and uncertainties. The Abra returning home was different, more confident, more self-assured, and with a clearer sense of purpose. The transformation was not just physical, but deeply emotional and spiritual. He had left behind a piece of his heart in Japan, a country that had welcomed him with open arms and taught him the beauty of simplicity and mindfulness. The friendships he had forged, the places he had visited, and the experiences he had lived through were now an indelible part of his being. Each goodbye was tinged with nostalgia, but also with gratitude. But he knew that a part of Japan would forever reside within him. The bonsai tree was a living testament to that, a daily reminder of the patience and care required to nurture something beautiful. His suitcase was filled with Japanese cultural items, each one a story waiting to be told, a memory waiting to be relived. He returned to Kolkata, not just with stories to tell, but with a heart full of experiences that had shaped him in ways he was still discovering. The familiar sights and sounds of his hometown greeted him, but he saw them through a new lens, one that was colored by his time in Japan. He brought back a new perspective, a sense of peace that came from understanding that life was a journey, not a destination. The hustle and bustle of Kolkata seemed less overwhelming, more manageable. He found solace in small moments of stillness, whether it was meditating in a quiet corner or simply watching the city skyline. His heart was brimming with gratitude, gratitude for the experiences, the people, and the lessons that had come his way. He began to journal his thoughts, capturing the essence of his journey in words and sketches. Each entry was a reflection of his growth, a testament to the transformative power of travel and self-discovery. He realized that the journey had not just been about discovering Japan, it had been about discovering himself. The temples, the cultural experiences, the landmarks, they were all mirrors reflecting different facets of his own identity. Each experience had added a new layer to his understanding of who he was and who he wanted to be. It had been about discovering himself. The journey was a mosaic of moments, each one contributing to a larger picture of self-awareness and personal growth. As he walked through the serene Japanese gardens in his mind, he knew that this was just the beginning. The journey home was not an end, but a continuation of a lifelong adventure of discovery and growth.